hi, hello, and welcome everybody. Happy Tuesday. Hope you guys are doing well. It has been a crazy night for me and a crazy day so far today. JD, Sage, Andreas on YouTube. Hope you guys are doing fantastic. You sent me a friend request, JD. All right, let me go. On which game? Star Rail or ZZZ? I will accept it right now. I just need you to let me know which one. I assume it's Star Rail because I know JD, you're not the Star Rail. Very nice. Let me go do that right this second. I'm opening up the game as we speak. But yeah, hope you guys are doing fantastic. Thank you guys for coming through. Hi, Leo. Wait, let me watch your past stream for a moment. I missed the end. Andreas, thank you so much for doing that, but feel free to just skip it. I did cut out a bit of the stream from last night, so I don't know if you guys were around. I don't think there was really anyone. I ended stream last night, and as I was about to actually hit OBS to like turn off, right, to like officially end the stream, um, the Himeko Nova animations came out. So I very quickly unended stream. And let's just say that my mental, I guess, acuity, my mental sharpness was completely thrown disarray. I was just, babbling nonsense because of many reasons, right? I had mentally clocked out of, being a streamer, being an entertainer, being an influencer, but also because I was overwhelmed by the beauty of the Himiko Nova animations. So I decided to cut out that last bit of the stream on YouTube because on YouTube you can do that, which is really nice. But on Twitch, it's still there. So if you guys want to see me be a babbling, just absolutely crazy person, you can go watch the YouTube VOD. It's at the very end of the stream of me reacting to the Himiko Nova animations. But we didn't react to all of them. The only animations I had leaked at the time were the ult. So I did see the ult. So I know that's like the big one. And but I know there's like a skill animation. There's like an assist skill animation as well that I have yet to see. I don't know I haven't seen those yet. So we're going into this partially blind, but yeah. Sage, JD, Andreas, glad to see you guys. Hope you guys are all doing well. 4.3 was an absolute movie, wasn't it? So all right, Andreas, I got you here, my friend. Arvarios. There we go. And we are now friends on Star Rail. And Andreas or Sage, if you guys want to add me on Star Rail, my UID, here we go. I don't have it pulled up, so let me just put it in chat. Anyone who is watching the VOD as well, that is my UID. It is in Twitch chat. Feel free to copy it and send me a friend request. I know that I have a rule that I don't like to socialize, on social media or Discord outside of stream, but stuff like adding me as a friend on the games, Zenless or Star Rail, perfectly fine. So feel free to send me a friend request. I do not mind whatsoever. But yeah, hope everyone is doing well. So today is our usual kind of story recap slash discussion stream that we do after every major Honkai Star Rail story patch. That said, we didn't necessarily do it last time for 4.2, so that is my mistake. My bad. uh, JD, I'm JD. Nice to meet you. You called me Andreas. Oh, my bad, JD. Did I do so? Andreas is on YouTube at the moment, so I guess I mixed you guys up. But no, JD, I'm well aware of who you are, my friend. I am well aware. I just got tongue tied. So, I will say this. I'm a bit woozy at the moment. Now you might be asking, oh, Gulio, what's wrong? Did you drink some alcohol before stream? I did not drink alcohol. I'm actually not a big fan of alcohol. It's not my preferred drink whenever I eat or am out socializing. I don't typically like the feeling of loss of control with my body. So, that's what alcohol does to you. You kind of like inhibit yourself. And so, not a big fan of it. Obviously, like, I don't think it tastes bad. Like, there are some wonderful alcohol drinks out there that are absolutely delicious, but I'm not the biggest fan of alcohol. But so yesterday, after I ended stream, I was so excited about the Himeko SP animations that I messaged Goldie, friend of the channel, fellow streamer, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, Goldie, this is amazing. This is the greatest thing ever." And me and Goldie have had this thing for a while now. Well, really, I've had this thing where in particularly exciting moments for Star Rail or Zenless or just, anything really related to the gaming sphere. Hey, Wagadaba, hope you're doing well, my man. Glad to see you on YouTube. Wagadaba, always a pleasure to have you in chat. Um, yeah, great to see you, Wagadaba. But to continue with the story, so basically, whenever there's like a big hype moment regarding our hobbies, I will sometimes kind of film a very humorous skit of some kind with my. I usually film it on my phone. It's nothing special. It's just like a skit, right? I'm just like doing something funny, and so I filmed a skit last night, nothing more than like a minute and a half long, for the purpose to send to Goldie and make him laugh. And at the very end of the skit, my intention was, you know what, I'm going to kind of fall out of my chair. Like I'm going to like purposely fall out of my chair and it'll be funny. That'll be the end of the skit. So I filmed it like 2 or 3 times. I don't really remember how many. And things were going fine. Like I was trying to be very careful, but I wasn't getting a good angle of me falling off of my chair. So I was like, okay, one more time. So this last take that I did, thankfully, was a good take. I was able to get the kind of like the video that I wanted, but I hit my head on my floor this time. I was not safe the last time, and let's just say I'm pretty sure I was mildly concussed. I'm pretty sure I got a very mild concussion because I edited the video, sent it to Goldie, and immediately went to go lay down because I was very dizzy and somewhat nauseous. And then, sure enough, about an hour later that night, which was at this point, this was pretty late. This was like, well into the morning hours, like at 1 in the morning or something like that. I threw up. I went into my bathroom. I was so nauseous and I threw up. And I then proceeded to like, do I think, should I go to the ER? Do I need to go to a hospital to make sure that I'm okay? Obviously, wasn't gonna drive myself, so I was like, considering calling my parents and asking if they could drive me to the ER. But it was so late at night; they were almost assuredly already asleep. And I said, you know what? I threw up. I'm feeling a bit better. If I am slightly concussed, it's not that bad. I'm just gonna go to sleep, wake up the next day and see how I'm feeling. And I woke up today feeling much better, feeling much better. But yeah, it's still a bit like woozy. Like I definitely have a bit of a headache. So let's just say HIMEKO SP excitement got me so badly that I concussed myself. So that was interesting. JD, did you just hurt yourself on purpose? OMG. I didn't do it on purpose. I was trying to be funny and I just was a dumbass and I just didn't fall correctly. Like the first 3 times that I filmed the skit. You know what? Hold on. Fuck this shit. I'm down to show this on stream. I'm down to show this. Hold on. This is going to be embarrassing, but I don't care. This is a chill stream. This is for the explicit purpose of chatting with you guys. Like, we're not doing anything specifically. You guys know how these streams go. JD, Sage, Wagaraba, Andreas, all of you guys have had these streams before. We just kind of kick the bucket. We just, have a good time. So this is on my channel, but it's unlisted, so it's not available to you guys. Here, give me a moment because I actually need to open up. Perfect. There we go. I actually need to go into like the studio, and we'll just use our Star Rail overlay here. So one of you guys are gonna like use like Google satellite images to like reverse engineer like this video. You guys are gonna find where I live. I've already like announced like a couple of months ago that I live in Texas. Um, there's a comment on this. Wait, what? Wait, how did this is probably a bot of some kind. But yeah, this is where I so this is like one of the courtyards of my apartment complex. This is the parking lot that I always put my car in. So this is the skit. Hold on. Is there volume on? Let's put volume on. There is no volume for the most part. So here I am. This is the full skit. You guys are peering into my private life at the moment. This is the hallway of my apartment complex. I am now acting as I am like returning to my apartment. Yes. I go inside my apartment. I take off my shoes, turn on my lamp in the living room. You guys can see my favorite sandals as I sit down. This is my carpet, my dining room table. And this is where the skit starts to get dangerous, right? This is where the skit actually starts to focus on something relevant. So this is my office right here. This is the first time you guys. So this is the where the magic happens. So you guys can kind of see the angle of like where I usually am at, right? It's like these are all like my figures. Like you can see my camera is like right over here, and it's like angling downward here. So this is how my office looks like. And I will say volume warning. So the skit is focused on HIMEKO. So I grabbed my sole piece of HIMEKO merch. This is the only piece of HIMEKO merch that I have, because as I've said before, I am waiting to buy HIMEKO SP merch. I've been wanting to buy HIMEKO merch forever, but I wanted to save it for when she got her SP. Once it started getting leaked. So ready. Here comes the volume warning. There we go. So the whole skit is silent, right? Until this moment. And the joke was supposed to be was that the song. So here we go. This is the important part. I then proceed to fall out of my chair like this. This is the take. I don't know if you can see, right? My head very much hits the ground at this point. Look at this. It's like you can see my head is above my office chair and it hits the carpet floor. And I kind of just lay there for a few seconds, just like thinking about what just happened. My head is ringing. So yeah, that's fun. Yeah, Sage, Gulio lore or world. I wasn't gonna show the skit on stream. I was like, I'm just gonna talk about it. I feel like that's a funny story, but fuck it. You guys got to see a little bit of. You guys got to see a little bit of my private life, just a little bit. So, but yeah. But so we are gonna react to the animations again. Like I said, there's a few skills that I haven't seen yet, so that'll be cool to see for the first time. And obviously, we can react to the ult animation again, and that's going to be fantastic as well. Fell in love, literally true. I mean, it's difficult not to fall in love with how gorgeous the animations are and how incredible her model is, right? So, JD, those emotions of yours are a dangerous thing. Listen, man, I have never presented myself as this like sharp person. Like I am a dumbass. I will do dumbass things. Now, do I think I'm a relatively like reliable like advisor or like subject matter expert when it comes to storytelling? Maybe a little. Like I think you guys come to me because you guys know that I pay attention and really focus on the story and the characters, and I can kind of identify the intent of the writers that create these wonderful storytelling moments and characters. But everything else outside of like storytelling, bit of a dumbass. Like, well, okay, I'm intelligent. I would say that I am able to learn things fairly quickly, and I wouldn't say I'm uneducated. Like I definitely am educated. I'm very lucky to be educated. Thank you very much, my parents, for um, investing so much time, money, and energy into my education. But I guess I'm not the most street smart person. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Like I make some dumbass decisions, and yesterday was definitely one of them. Cause let me tell you, I thought I was far like more badly concussed yesterday than I, you know, thought so today, this morning when I woke up. The things we do for love, indeed, indeed. The things we do for love. Why don't we keep her with us here? Let's put her on top of my work laptop. Is that a good angle? Perfect. You guys can kind of see her there. So, Wakadaba, there is the good one now, thanks to them. Yes, that is another thing. The animation that I reacted to last night was very clunky. It wasn't high definition, and it was also in 2 times speed. So as amazing as it was, this will be the first time I get to see her animations in full HD and also in 1 time speed. So that'll be really cool as well. That is a great point, Waganabe. Thank you very much. So we're gonna do that first. So we'll do the Himeko animations reactions first, and then we'll go into our regular story discussion slash recap stream, and we will just kind of shoot the shit together. You guys know this stream; it's not anything too serious. We're kind of keeping things casual. So I have the animations already pulled up, so let's go ahead and go there. Very nice. We're on Reddit. And so, like I said, the only thing that I've seen of Himeko SP is her technique. So I've seen her technique and I've seen her ult animation. Like, I know those are the two most exciting things. I'm sorry. I couldn't help myself last night. But everything else I have not seen. So this will be blind reaction aside from those 2 things. So let me make sure that, do we have audio? Does this even have audio? Oh, I'm muted on here. There we go. That should be good. I feel like that's not too loud, right? If it's too loud, let me know. I love her hair. Her hair has got a bit more volume. Okay, that's a bit loud, actually. Ooh, this is cool. Oh, this is such a dope idol animation. Hold on. Yo. Oh my god, I love the screens that she pulls up. Yeah, her hair having kind of the galaxy effect is also super cool. I did see that a little bit when I reacted last night. Like the little stars and the black of her hair. But her hair has more volume now for sure. She looks a bit more handsome rather than elegant as she did before. For sure. Skonan Stone, how's it going? Hey Stone, I'm sorry, man. Sometimes the auto mount gets you. That is perfectly fine, Stone. I'm sorry about that. Bro, yeah, her technique's incredible, Stone. It is ridiculous. Alright, so this is kind of her, like, overworld basic. And talking about technique, look at that. Just straight up camera change and just blast the fucking floor. Like, why even go into combat at this point? You know what I'm saying? They're just dead. Like, everyone's asking me, like, how are you gonna defeat Asat Pramad like this, motherfucker? Who gives a fuck about causality manipulation? Firefly Pro? True. Oh, fuck me. I don't think I saw that yesterday. Hold on, wait, let me watch that again. So I assume that's like when you enter combat using her technique, right? The base that comes with that, dude? Holy shit. Okay, so that's her basic attack. Very similar to her overworld basic attack. Oh, this is her skill. Okay. The flag is like definitely like the highlight of that. Yeah, no. We gotta watch that again. That has to be the assist skill, right? That everyone's talking about. Oh my god, bro! He turned into a fucking comet. Yo, he's a shooting star. Oh, the base too. I did not see that yesterday. God damn. Holy shit. And we're gonna get the ult animation here soon. Oh, there's the assist skill again. Oh man, the assist skill is dope. Here we go. So I have seen this. I will say it, I have seen this. But this is the first time I'm seeing it properly. Oh my god. Oh my, it's filthy. It's disgusting. It is just the best animations in the game, bar none. Yes! Slice and blast the motherfucker! Oh my god. Yo. And look at mom. Look at mother. She just blows up. She just blows up everything. It just... Do we get something else here? Is there even more? Oh, we're just getting the ult again. That's fine. You know what? One of my favorite parts about this ult is this part right here. I love the way the glaive or the sword, whatever you want to call it, kind of like is like so like energized up. Look how big this motherfucking sword is. This is the robot, by the way. The robot is already huge. The sword is just straight up burning the galaxy itself. Okay, those are the end of the animations. Let's kind of stop at a good part. I kind of ooh yeah, this is a great place to kind of leave the stream at. Stone, I have a theory that the mech is a train or a part of the train. No, yeah, absolutely. I have a feeling that the mech isn't necessarily up like the train itself, but comes with the train. Does that make sense? Like I wouldn't be surprised if this mech was like a protector of the Astral Express, like left behind by Akavili or something. Like this is like a part of the Astral Express that exists to keep the Nameless or the Express safe. So Andreas back, who is assist, not a follow up. They're calling this her Himiko's like special like follow up attack or skill assist skill. I haven't read the kit in full detail yet, but it has to do something with the fact that you have to have Astral Express teammates. I think, or if anyone is in chat, Sage, JD, Stone, if you guys know how it works, feel free to put it in. But yeah, it's fucking amazing. We now understand Himiko's confidence in protecting us or protecting herself. Like, mother, my mistake. I tried to lock her in her room, right? In 4.3. And she was like, no, I'm going to go confront Asat Pramad himself because I didn't know that she had fucking Gurren Lagann with her. She had a Gundam with her. She said unicorn. For those of you who are Gundam fans, you'll like that reference. Sage, I think her technique changes her alt a bit. Really? Interesting. JD, those animations are anniversary character level. No, yeah, absolutely. I mean, she's a main push, right? Like, main push characters are always going to get, ridiculous animations on their skills and their ults. I mean, I know, like, everyone's attention is on Himeko right now, rightfully so, right? Um, but remember, like, Silver Wolf 999, we were also, like, going crazy about her animations as well, so. Sage, the lore is that this was hidden in her suitcase. There's likely wreckage of the original Astral Express and Hachatopia. It would be so funny if this robot somehow was just hidden in her suitcase. Like, that would be hilarious. That would be so funny. But yeah, no, I agree with that second point of yours, Sage. That it is this robot is gonna have some special origin point, if that makes sense. I think both you and Stone are barking up the right tree in that sense that this robot is like a part of the Astral Express in some capacity. Like I don't think this robot is like a train cart. Let me make that clear. Like I don't think this is like one of the carts of the train that gets transformed into the robot. No, no, no. I don't think so. I think this robot is like an extension. That's a good word. An extension of the Astral Express. And that it is, tied to Himeko and tied to the Astral Express's wreckage on Ahatopia or Planet Arcadia. Sage, it's one or two members, not the whole party. Yeah, I think so. And then something like if you get her E2, that like restriction is like waived off. But like, why wouldn't you use Astral Express members with this character? Like, imagine getting to run Himeko Sunday and Welt on the same team. Like, that's fucking awesome, dude. Like, that's such a dope story team. So yeah, and I think Gilgamesh and Ren have something called joint attacks. Correct. Yes, Gilgamesh and has a joint attack with Saber. Rin has a joint attack with Archer. Now, we're not going to react to their animations today. I've already seen their animations. I don't like to react to leaks on stream. Number one, it's dangerous. I could get in trouble for this. And number two, I'm not I am a supporter of leaks and a not supporter of leaks in some way. I think leaks are good for planning ahead for a game that tries to incentivize gambling and take all your money away from you. But also, leaks also undermine the efforts of the development team, and that's something I don't like. So I only react to leaks like this on various special occasions, like Cyrene or Finon, or I think those are the only two times we've ever reacted to leaks on the channel, or HIMEKO SP. So you know what I mean. Sage, her best team is Dante and Sunday, though. JD, who's Dante? That's just a nickname for Don Hung. But yeah, but if you only need to run two Astral Express members, I would prefer to run Welt as long as you have E4. If you have E4 Welt, then I prefer to run Welt. Then I would prefer to run Sunday. And then if I need to sustain, I would rather run something else, like Heisen probably. Or just run sustainless, right? I feel like this is a good character to run sustainless. Wagadaba mecha piloted by Pom Pom. I guess that would explain the old friend. Hmm, that's actually kind of interesting. If like they were to like use this mecha as like a way to give Pom Pom some characterization, I actually kind of like that. I don't mind that whatsoever. Guest, hey, wait a minute. Is that an Ultraman color scheme on her mecha? Kind of, a little bit. Hey, good to see. So let me make this clear. I'm not an Ultraman fan, nor have I really immersed myself in their franchise. But I do know of Ultraman. I'm well aware because I'm generally a pretty big fan of mecha. One of my favorite anime of all time is Gurren Lagann. I'm a huge Gundam fan. I love Gundam. And as a kid, I also was a fan of Transformers. I know that isn't exactly the same thing. And one of my favorite anime of all time, like even more so than Gurren Lagann, is 86. That's not technically like a full on like mecha. Like it's kind of mecha, but I like mecha, so I know of most mecha series. So good to see a Ultraman reference in chat. What's going on, guest? Hope you're doing well, my man. Glad to see you. Sage, the main pushes for 4.x is Silverwolf 999, Nova, Himeko, and Nihilux. Yep, that's what the leaks have been saying for quite some time now. So, and Nihilux is supposed to be like the Cyrene of Planet Arcadia, or like the Elation storyline, which is saying something because you guys know how crazy Cyrene is as a character, and her animations are the second best in the game now, behind what's on your screen. So yeah, Nihilux is going to be extremely important. Sage, I just think she'll craft from the Astral Express parts of the original, since she's likely remade the train as she's an engineer. That could be interesting as well. Like, not necessarily the robot is a part of the wreckage, but Himeko used the wreckage of the Express, took parts of it, and created this mech. That's cool. Sage, it's Tarai for short. Yep. Yep. Besides, who's using any form of Dan Heng besides Tarai at this point? Like, let's be real. Unfortunately. 4-star Dan Heng, no one is using. And then Dan Heng IL has just unfortunately been power crept. Stone, I hope Gilgamesh will make my Saber relevant again. Supposedly, they work really well off one another, and that Saber and Gilgamesh team is actually really strong now. So, yeah, Gilgamesh makes Saber crazy strong now, but having a Gil without Saber is a bad idea. Well, I feel like everyone who is summoning for the fate characters is gonna summon for all of the fate characters, right? Like it's I feel like very few people are gonna like summon for one specific fate character. Like if you're gonna summon for the collab, that means you're likely a fan of Fate, and that means you're likely gonna get all of them. So now whether you or not you get your Lycones, that's a different story. Guys, doing good. Just saw your live stream on my feed. Happy face. YouTube finally caught on what I was searching yesterday. Hey, appreciate you coming in, guest. I'm not sure if I've seen you around before, but I'd love to see you here. You have based taste, being an Ultraman fan, and yeah, just hope you have a great time. We're just kind of doing our usual patented story discussion slash recap stream that we do after every after we do after every Star Rail story. So hope you enjoy yourself. Hope you stick around, my friend. God Mega Design looks so damn good. I mean, dude, it's just you could there's so many things about this mecha design that you could like point to. Number one, the colors, right? The gold, the white, the red. Everything fits, so well. I mean, this is like a very popular color scheme for a reason. So, but you've got like different like accents that kind of like look like the Express. Like a lot of this gold accent makes me think of the Agile Express. The horn on the helmet, the visor, the lights from coming from the abdomen up to the shoulder pads here, the like shields around its body. Oh my god. The glaive being used as almost a baton or like a guiding like pole arm for the mech itself with the flag. It's just peak fiction, I'm afraid. It's just absolute cinema. Stone, my what's only E3. Rest in peace, Stone. Hopefully you lose one of your 50/50s while you're summoning to Himeko to Welt. Hopefully. JD, actually, this Gundam reminds me of Vita's Star Traveler a little bit. Let's Sage is talking about this, guys. I know exactly what you're talking about. Sage, it's the green robot, right? Yeah. Here we go. Yeah. So it definitely kind of resembles it in a way because you've kind of got like number one, the size is very similar, right? The size is definitely like close in terms of like scale. But you've got similar like golden accents to the robot, but the design of the robot is still fairly different. But you can tell like they took the same design elements as Star Traveler for sure. Speaking of Vita, hopefully we get Vita in Star Rail soon because she is supposed to show up at some point. Stone, just wondering who is the third character in her comp because I heard people say both Tribi and Cyrene. JD, I've seen Sparkle as well. So, from what I understand, um, there are multiple teams you can run with her that depend on getting Ichu or not getting Ichu. If you don't get Ichu, then you want to run Astral Express characters. So Sunday, Welt, Don Hong, Permansor, Tarai are probably the best options, right? If you obviously most of us I think are guaranteed to have Permansor, Tarai, but and Welt. Most people probably have Welt at this point if you've been playing around for a while. Sunday, give or take, toss a coin. So you'll want to pick and choose from those characters. I would imagine Sunday and Welt E4 are probably the best pairing there. But if you get her E2, then you can run, just typical supports, right? At that point, you're running probably Blade. The new Blade is just ridiculously good. You're probably running. I don't know if you're running Cyrene just because she's more for Crisis Airs, but Tribi wouldn't be a bad option because of her support for AoE damage, right? You could run again. Sunday wouldn't be bad, just straight up. So there's many different. The Sparkle is probably the best, like high crit DPS support that we have at the moment. So Sage Huahua, yeah, Huahua is good for them as well. Stone, yeah, but I meant as the second support slash sub DPS. Yeah, new Blade is pretty busted. I am considering summoning for Blade because of how ridiculously good he is. If you guys want to see how good the new Blade is, go to Pridewin and go to Blade's character profile. You know what? Fuck it. We'll do it right now. Hold on. Look at this shit. Let's go to Pridewin. I'll show you guys right now. Actually, let's just go to the tier list. That'll be quicker. Where's Blade? There he is. So he's T0 in every mode, right? Look at his cons, though. He has no cons. He has this one con, like, okay, if you suck at the game, he might be difficult to play. And everything, this is not a con. This is another pro disguised as a con. There's literally nothing bad about this character. So if you have the summons, I would advise for you to get Blade because he's ridiculous. Okay, back to Robot. Let me go to YouTube really quick, guys. Wagadaba, have you read the Furbo news from the chapter I mean the interview? No, I haven't, but I did see it. Maybe we'll do that later in the stream, or maybe I'll just do that on my own time. It's supposed to be about Asat Pramad. I know, I do know of it. Guest, if you heard of a game called Mecha Break, the silhouette of the mecha is similar to Panther. I have not, but again, Why not search it up? Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Like very similar, like forward horn, right? The chest is very similar as well. This is a dope mecha. You are a true mecha fan, guest. You are a true mecha fan. I can tell. Stone, funny story. I've pulled Saber and haven't watched the anime. Really? I would recommend it. I do like the anime a lot. I haven't seen all of the Fate animes. I've seen the original, so Fate Stay Night, going back to the 2000s, I think. I've seen Fate Unlimited Blade Works, which is really great. And then I've seen all three of the Heaven's Feel movies. So I like all the three main animes. Those are like the three main animes of like the three roots, right, in Fate. And then I've seen Fate Zero, and that's it. So I'm like a very vanilla Fate fan. I haven't seen any of the like side animes. Haven't played the original visual novel. Haven't really done anything besides like the main content of the series. So, but would recommend them. I enjoy the animes quite a bit. JD, my Walt is E6. Fucking hell, JD. Share with the rest of us, will you? I think my Walt's E2, so I've got some work to do. Worst comes to worst, if Welt is Himeko's best in slot, which there's a good chance he is, I will just use my currency to get a couple of free Welts. I just need two of them. Stone, I don't have Blade SP. Yeah, man, it's rough, bro. He's so good, but we've got so many characters to summon for. Sage, SP Robin is really locked into Nova Himeko teams and likes Sunday duo comp, so it's probably them and Dante for the team. Bro, SP Robin with Sunday Himeko would be glorious. I would love that, bro. I would love that. Please give it to me, please. JD, I have both Himeko and Welt E6 with their respective weapon. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I think I also have both of their light cones. It's really hard not to get, both of their light cones if you've been playing from the game's launch, like I think we have. So Sunday is better than Sparkle for Nova. I would assume so. I think I said generally I think Sparkle is the best like crit DPS support at the moment, but for Himeko Nova, I do think Sunday would be better. Or you can use both. Yeah, you probably shouldn't use both because that is like diminishing returns, right? That is like two of the same like role in a team. So, but yeah, something like Sunday Tribby would work pretty well, I think. Sparkle Tribby would work pretty well. I guess you could run Cyrene. She wouldn't be bad either, especially if you have her E2. But if you run Cyrene, then you obviously you have to run like another Chrysos Air. So Don Hung would be fantastic. And all of Nova mains will be getting Robin SP anyway and works with Sunday in that team. JD, well, Leo, my man, I love vanilla. Vanilla is a good flavor. That said, I think my preferred ice cream flavor is these days. I've been very, very addicted to Rocky Road. I hadn't ever tasted Rocky Road in my adult life until recently. I know that might be surprising because it's like a very popular ice cream flavor, right? But recently, my dad, I went over to their place like I do every Friday, and he had bought some ice cream from HEB, which is a popular like grocery store brand here in Texas, and their ice cream is very good. And I was like, okay, I kind of want some because, as you guys know, I've been on a diet for a long time, and I recently broke my diet. Like, I didn't break my diet; like I willingly got off my diet. So I've been, getting to eat my favorite foods again, and ice cream was one of them. So I opened the fridge, but the only flavor that he had left was Rocky Road. So I was like, it's chocolate. I'm gonna like it, and it was delicious. It was amazing, and so I've been getting Rocky Road quite a lot recently. But historically, my favorite ice cream flavor has been mint chocolate chip. I love mint chocolate chip. Sage, while Nova Himiko doesn't need Sparkle's ult for skill points, it's not really that useful. She's just there for the skill. Sunday gives her a turn and a turn energy regen. No, yeah, but keep in mind that, she also gives a shit ton of damage boost as well. Like, yeah, Himiko probably doesn't need the skill points, but Sparkle with her buff is just a good buffer, just generally. So, JD, I guess True Harmony only works with Finon. Well, yeah, just because you want to build up his stacks as quickly as possible. Sage, also Sunday should be getting buffs in 4.5 when SP Robin also comes out. I thought those rumors were still up in the air. I think those leaks are still like a bit wishy-washy. But yeah, so we got a couple of leaks that say that Sunday is supposed to get a Nova Flare. He's supposed to get a buff. But then those rumors were kind of like proven to be unreliable, but now they're kind of like coming back in a sense. So Sage Himeko gives the extra turn to the Astra members. Lamau Astra. Yeah, Himeko with Astra Yao, guys. Make sure that you run Himeko Nova with Astra Yao from Zenless Zone 0. That is her team. Which honestly, Himeko Nova, Astra, Evelyn team would be potentially my favorite gotcha team of all time. You're telling me I could hold on. Imagine if I could use these two characters on the same team, bro. Oh, hold on. There we go. Imagine. All right, let's put the Himeko acrylic sand back there. Guest, thanks. I'm a man. I'm going back to the YouTube chat here for a moment. Guest, thanks. I'm a man of many interests, especially giants fighting giant stuff. Guest, are you also a fan of kaiju? That is what I tend to know a bit more. I'm a big fan of mechs, but I am also a big fan of like kaiju. Like I have been a Godzilla fan since I was a kid, and so I could definitely talk kaiju for sure. Big Pacific Rim fan as well. One of my favorite movies. Guess so. When I saw Himeko having a giant ass mech, I was like, whoa. No, same here, bro. My favorite, like, obviously the mech is amazing, but I think I talked about this briefly. My favorite, like, aesthetic thing about Himeko Nova, and one of my favorite aesthetics of all time, just like straight up one of my favorite things of a character design can have, is a glaive or some type of polearm, like a spear, a halberd, a glaive, like a pole arm weapon. And but it can't just be the pole arm. It has to be the pole arm with a long flowing outfit, like a dress or a trench coat or something like that. That character design is like it's like it's like drugs for me. It's like my weakness. Like, you know what I'm saying? So when I saw Himiko SP's designs leaked like a couple of weeks ago, I lost it, dude. Because for me, the mech is awesome and I love mechs. But this is what fucking gets me. It's the fucking glaive. And obviously her dress as well. So, but everything about this design is peak fiction. I've said this before. This is my favorite character design of all time. Like straight up, not just in Star Rail, not just in video games, ever. I just everything about this design just speaks to me. Wagadaba, oh, about Robin, have you seen the one about her in Castris? That would be her summon. Hope it's a dove. if I did see that Robin was supposed to be Remembrance, bro. If Robin's summon was the Charmony Dove, that would be so fucking funny. The memes would be out in a rage, in a frenzy. But that'd actually be kind of interesting. I'd be down for that. Bro, Sage, you've got me like addicted to this idea now that you can run Himeko Nova with Robin and Sunday Duo. I please game. That's what I want. Guess, seeing how Himiko works with the nameless member, I can see Sunday being more plausible. At first, I thought Welt got buffed for the new follow up team, but it feels like it's more for this team. No, yeah, they definitely buffed Welt with the intention of being a potential Himiko Nova teammate. One of the great things about Himiko Nova is that she's actually fairly cheap to summon for, right? Her best, she's got a lot of teammates that a lot of us already have or are easily attainable, right? I feel like most people have Sunday. If you don't have Sunday, you can run Welt or and Permanence or Teray, right? Those are two. One of them is a free character. One of them is a standard banner character. So And there's also other Astral Express members. Remembrance MC, right? We haven't talked about Remembrance MC yet. You could absolutely run Remembrance MC. Sage, the leakers aren't sure about some of them, like Zhao Cho, but Sunday has been pushed for SP Robin and Nova Comp, especially since her leaks are this week. I'm not saying I don't want Sunday to get a Nova Flare. I would love for Sunday to get a Nova Flare. Also, by the way, I don't know if I shared this with you guys. Hold on, let's go to Star Rail really quick. I don't know if I ever shared this, by the way. Guess who did this? I did something. I did something. Hey, I got this recently. I on his rerun I summoned for it. I don't know if you guys knew, but I had Sunday for the longest time using the Bronya Lycone. See, I have two Bronya Lycones fully leveled. Sunday was using this for the longest time, and then I got his Lycone on rerun because like it's a broken ass Lycone, and also I want to use Sunday with HIMEKO, so I can tell you guys right now, I will be running Sunday with HIMEKO. I don't care if he's not best in slot. Those are my third and fourth favorite characters in the entire game, respectively. So, JD, I hope Robin's summon is a giant music note. That actually would be super cute. I would actually like it for it to be like a music note. That actually like would be really cute for me. I'd be down for that. Guess not a die-hard fan of kaiju, but I watched quite a few. The most recent one was Shin Godzilla, which was a nice change of pace since the focus is more on nudity of a country than cool as eye candy. Shin Godzilla was very good. Yes, absolutely. We've had a lot of good Godzilla movies these days. Shin Godzilla -1, and I will say this: I I like the I like the kaiju shared universe. I think some of the movies are definitely like bad is like I don't know if that's the right word. Not well made. Let's say that. Like some of the Godzilla movies in the kaiju shared universe that they have now is they're like the human characters are extremely boring. The acting is not very good for the most part. But they're entertaining. Like you're not gonna go into one of those movies expecting like a masterpiece of writing, right? You know what to expect. Giant monsters fighting each other. And that's what you get for the most part. So, yes. Okay, I finally get it. That one leak about NPC going to be playable. It's going to be Shush, which will be Himiko's dedicated sport. True! It's not Kuchiba. It was never Kuchiba. It was always Shush. Shush is going to become a playable HSR character, and they will be Himiko's best in slot teammate. Sage, I actually think SP Robin will be more of her in an angelic theme. That would be very cool. No, yeah, I think Robin SP is going to get a lot of attention because number one, she's Robin. Robin is actually a pretty like mega popular character in Star Rail, just because obviously like of her music and her albums and stuff. So I think she's going to get the attention she deserves. She's going to get that Remiel treatment, if you know what I'm saying, Sage. She's going to get the Remiel design. JD, we all know Himiko's Nova's best in slot is a cup of coffee. Nope, not that one. We'll all die. Well, actually, maybe that's the way. That should be what makes Himiko Nova so powerful. It's not the mech. It was never the mech. Himiko Nova's ult, her secret ult, is actually her making a cup of coffee for the enemy, and then you feed them the cup of coffee, and then they get 99 stacks of every DOT in the game, and they are just poisoned, and they would just die instantly. That is Himiko Nova's secret ult. By the way, I thought it was really funny in the 4.3 story when she tried to get Ryusuke to drink some of her coffee. That was a good moment. Or I guess not Ryusuke anymore, now that we know who he really is. So that's actually a good, I think, transition point to talk about the story, right? Let's go ahead and go over back here. Himiko Nova, absolutely glorious. Best animations in the game, best design in the game, and hopefully the best DPS in the game. So let's go here. let's go ahead and talk about the story. Bro, this is a I didn't even realize that I paused the I didn't even realize that I paused this video on a Sop Pramod just straight up aura farming. This is a great pause. This is a good intro. Sage, I think SP Robin will be less clothed, so you may be right. Remy Yellow is already showing a decent amount of skin, so if SP Robin is showing even less clothes than Remy Yellow, I don't know if I would like that. So by the way, we will be going back to ZZZ after this. So this will be the last 4.3 stream that we do. So ZZZ, and also I will announce this. I'll talk about it more at the end of the stream, but I'll say it now. We are going to make a major push to catch up to ZZZ before 3.0. I know there's not a lot of time left. We're gonna try. Okay, so talking about the story, right? There's a lot of things about 4.3 that are absolutely incredible. Like, this is definitely by far the best story patch so far in Planet Arcadia, bar none. I think most of us would agree with that, right? There's so many things that are jam-packed into here. It's surprisingly short, right? It's only like 4 hours long, 4.5 hours long. Like my VOD on YouTube is like 5.5 hours long. For me, like as a streamer and as someone who fucking takes forever to play through, you know, HSR stories, that is a short stream, right? So it is a shorter story. I kind of think they could have used a little bit more time. Like, I think if they had taken 30 minutes, an hour, a little bit extra to help expand a little bit of the scenes a bit more, especially this last part, right? Asap Herman gets introduced pretty late. So I think it could have used just 30 minutes more, maybe an hour more to allow things to breathe a bit. But it's fantastic. I think that is one of the minor criticisms I have of 4.3. So I think the first thing I want to talk about, we just talked about HIMEKO Nova for an hour, pretty much. So we'll talk about HIMEKO in a bit, and we'll talk about, you know, everything about her with Ryusuke, or, you know, who's on your screen here in just a bit. Let's talk about this motherfucker on the screen, because he's already here. He is a menace. This guy is terrifying. Like, what the hell? Like, he shows up out of nowhere and he's just like, "Hey, yeah, I'm in the world. I'm in the canvas world. And let's just throw down. Like I'm done playing games. Like, my machinations, all my planning. Yeah, all right, I got found out. Like, HIMEKO like was able to discern my true identity. Let's throw hands." And boy, oh boy, does he throw hands. This motherfucker said, "I can manipulate causality to a certain extent," right? He doesn't have full causality manipulation, right? That would make him the strongest character in Star Rail. But he can seemingly, right? We don't know how it works perfectly yet, but seemingly, Asap Pramod has the ability to kind of roll a dice, and based on, you know, the roll of dice, pick or choose from multiple different timelines or instances of an event. And he will just then pick the luckiest dice roll, right? He will then just pick the dice roll that gives him the best result. And that is not necessarily full on causality manipulation, right? But that is probability manipulation. That is the ability to influence luck itself, the very concept of luck itself. He can choose his luck and seemingly always chooses the luckiest instance, right, of his dice roll. And then he just brings that instance into reality. It's broken. But on top of that, he can't just only do that. He can also have multiple versions of themselves, right? Oh, Asap Pramod is ore farming in front of HIMEKO. Asap Pramod is also in the world of Canvas, 1v4ing Blade, well, not Blade, 1v3ing Silverwolf, Graphia, and the Trailblazer. And he's also, what is that? What is that you say? He's also facing down Ash Vale and March. You know, Ash Vale, the person who took down Shuhu and Zulo, apparently, with his mega power, you know, in his arm. La Mancha, the leader of the Galaxy Rangers. Oh, by the way, he's also fighting again 1v3ing Yao Guang and Welt and Don Hung, a scion of permanence. Welt, he was 1v1ing Zephyro in a Myriad Celestia. Yao Guang, a fucking Arbiter General. This motherfucker is broken. How are we going to defeat him? Genuinely, I would love to know. Because at this moment in time, we're going to need some Trailblaze plot devices to take this guy down. Because every single one of his clones has that ability. The ability to manipulate probability slash luck slash causality. Ridiculous. He is terrifying. He is the even more so than Iron Tomb, I think, more menacing than Iron Tomb to me. He just straight up says, okay, you know, I've had my fun. I had a great time, playing dad. I had a great time manipulating, Full Wish and, manipulating Graphia. But, I got to do what I got to do. All right. Let me just dust off the hands really quick. And he just straight up bangs everyone down. It's crazy. JD, the fact Asant Pramad killed Ryusuke and pretended to be him since the very beginning is so messed up. Yeah, this is another thing. We'll talk about this in a bit. But yes, he is menacing beyond just his straight up power. Yes, the story was really damn good. Almost all the plausible theory from the start finally came true. Yeah, lots of theories that were flying around at the beginning of the Plain Arcadia story actually ended up coming true, which was pretty cool, right? The fact that we were able to get insight into that early on. Wakadaba stealing a comment from Reddit. Hope he survives just for future interactions between him and Himeko. Oh, I don't think Asat Pramod. Bro, they're not taking this character in one story patch in 4.4 and defeating him. Impossible. We are not defeating this character in a single story patch. Are you kidding me? It took us 7 to 8 story patches to defeat Iron Tomb. I'm more scared of this guy than Iron Tomb currently. We'll see. Who knows, right? We'll see what happens later. So, but yeah, I think he for sure survives. I don't think we beat Asat Pramod in 4.4. So I think he's going to be a villain that, gets reintroduced later down the line, which is awesome because I love Asat Pramod. He is amazing. He is contending with Lygus at the moment for my favorite antagonist. Like, hey, daughter, how was the anti-destruction meeting? Dad, you tried to backstab me last week. True. That's a good one. Look at that. Honestly, if they could give me if they could somehow merge Asat Pramod and Ryusuke's personalities a bit and give me some Asat Pramod Himeko banter from that angle, that would be fantastic. Andres, he is cool as fuck, right? Not like someone called Lygus, so boy. Yeah, Lygus wasn't exactly he didn't have the aura farming factor that Asap Mod has. I think that is something that Asap Mod has over Lygus. Now, Lygus, in my opinion, far more interesting character, right? From a characterization perspective, from a writing perspective, Lygus is definitely more interesting at this moment in time, right? Asap Mod still has a lot to go still. But you know, the all but confirmed, speculation that he is icy, the very fact that he T poses in every scene that he's in, the fact that he can manipulate causality to a certain extent, this motherfucker is cold as fuck. I know I'm cursing a lot, but I can't get across just how cool and powerful Asap Pramod is. He is a amazing villain, and I hope he sticks around for a long time. Genuinely, they are finally doing the Lord Ravagers correctly. I was genuinely concerned after Fantilia and 1.x. I was like, I guess the boss fight was cool, but Fantilia gets introduced to the story with a mob. With the mob, just a regular mob, and then the boss fight's cool, but then she doesn't die, right? But then she kind of just goes Fantilia for me was disappointing at first, I will say. But then we get Iron Tomb, and then we get this guy, Asap Pramod, and now I feel like they're just okay, all right, we've got it down. We know what the Lord Ravagers are supposed to be like in the Star Rail story. So, yeah, they're doing a great job. Stone, I'm still so sad Himeko never actually met her father. Yeah, dude. the realization of Himiko when Asat Pramad basically told her, "Hey, I replaced your father when you were 6 years old," was genuinely tragic. Like you could see that, like deep down inside, Himiko still loved her father in certain ways. Obviously, in other ways, she resented her father. Um, you know, this version of Himiko, which we'll talk about later, right? Because there's true to Himikos now. But you can tell she genuinely wished that uh, Ryusuke was not connected to Asat Pramad or was not Asat Pramad, that she wanted her dad to be back to like start anew with him. And when she learned that there was no hope of that ever happening, that Ryusuke died even before her original self died, was really tragic for sure. So Nina, what's going on, Nina? Good to see you, Nina. Hope you're doing well. Did you notice in Himiko's Nova's alt, the animes are on top of her orbital cannon, and also you can see the canyon strike zones on the ground? Really? Is it actually the cannon? Hold on. Oh my goodness, it is. Wait, hold on. That's the orbital cannon. Yeah, those are. What the fuck? Wow, the great observation. I did it. Like I said, I only briefly watched these last night, and I stayed away from these animations all day today because I wanted to like react to them properly today. So it is the orbital cannon. That is so cool. Well, what happens here then? Hold on. She just said, fuck the orbital cannon. I'm gonna cut it in half. She just blows up her own orbital cannon. She said, I don't need this anymore. I have Gurren Lagann. I have my mech. Good observation. Fafin Fafor, I want him to live. I also want Asat Pramad to continue living. Or I don't want him to be defeated in a story patch, man. I feel like this is a villain that needs to stick around for a hot minute. Like you can't just like if you want to defeat him at the end of the Elation storyline, by all means, that'll work for me, right? Like Lycus was introduced, I believe, in 3.2, 3.3, 3.2, because he was like that's when he was introduced as the Thrioros, and that was like the Anaxa story patch, right? So yeah, Lycus was introduced around the same time Asat Pramad was introduced, so we have plenty of time to develop Asat Pramad as a antagonist and give him a proper like defeat. So, but yeah, he should stick around for a bit. Stone, I called one of Himiko's. Himiko was an Imagine. Yes, you did. You did, Stone, and lots of people did as well. One of the most popular theories at the beginning of Planet Arcadia was that Himiko was an Imagine, and it's confirmed. Well, all but confirmed, right? Like they straight up haven't said it in the story yet, but I would be very surprised if Himiko was in an Imagine. The only thing that still, needs to be explained is why Himiko was able to leave Planet Arcadia if she is an Imagine, because Imagine supposedly are, restricted to Planet Arcadia because they need wish power to continue surviving. So what's going on there, right? Like, is someone supplying Himiko with wish power away from Planet Arcadia? How? Is the original Himiko still alive? We'll talk about all that here in a bit. What about him being IC? I don't think is theory anymore after seeing the Navigator relic set. No, yeah, that I did read the Navigator relic set last night, which I like to me, like I said earlier, all but confirmed. It is just straight up true. Actually, you know what? I wonder. Let's go to the IC. Uh, let's just do Honkai Star Rail Asat Pramad. Is it like updated in the wiki at this point? Oh yeah, already he was formerly en route where he served as a navigator under the name IC. So yeah, people are just already assuming that IC and Asat Pramad is being one and the same as confirmed, right? Which I think it is personally. Guessed. Kind of crazy the fact the whole time she met her dad, it was already a Sapramod. It was just such Luke, I am her father situation. Except I don't think a Sapramod really cares about Himeko. I think a Sapramod sees Himeko as like a pet. Does that make sense? Like very like I think he like finds Himeko entertaining. I think he cares for her in a very sadistic and like crude way. But I don't think he loves her. I'd be very surprised. Whereas I think Vader in the Star Wars, original trilogy, did love Luke the whole time he was Vader for the most part. Like obviously they had their conflicts, but I don't. I think Vader, as shown by his redemption and his death, spoilers I guess for Star Wars, that he chose Luke over the dark side, and Vader was always capable of love and loved Luke at the very end. I don't think this motherfucker is gonna have a redemption arc. I don't think Asapra Mod is gonna be like, my son, nor I get my daughter. Let me gaze upon your face one last time. No, that's not gonna happen. Andreas, now I think about it, Astral Express is full of a bunch of babies. Himiko is 15 years old. March is under 15 years old. Anhung just reborn. Trailblazer just reborn. Pom Pom is a baby mammal, and there is Walt. All of this obviously unconfirmed. We don't know everyone's ages because they don't do birthdays in Star Rail for some reason. Um, and who knows, right? If Himiko is an Imagine, does the concept of age even apply to her? Like, there's a lot of things to think about that, right? So, and who knows how old Sunday is, right? Because he's a different species entirely. JD, I think most people rejected the idea of Himiko being an Imagine since supposedly they can't leave Planet Arcadia. That's what I reject. I was I've said multiple times that I did not think Himiko was an Imagine for that specific reason. So that's why I thought that Kimiko wasn't an Imagine, but I was proven wrong, right? I'm not always perfect. So, but yes. So maybe she was an exception because she won one of the Phantom Moon games. That is what I thought. My thought process was that yes, I from the very beginning of Planet Arcadia, once they brought up the possibility of Himiko being quote unquote already dead, right? I was like, okay, they're not gonna bring this up if it wasn't true, right? I did always think, even like from the start of 4.0, Himiko, like I guess the original Himiko was dead, and the Himiko that we all know and love, right? This Himiko, mother, right? Our mother, I thought that she was a clone of some kind or some type of representation of the original Himiko. My thought was that she was a result of the original Himiko winning the Phantom Moon games and then using her wish to create a form of herself that would be able to leave Planet Arcadia and be free of the weathering curse. That was always my thought. I thought that's where the story was going. But no, it looks like it's leaning more towards the imagining angle instead. And so now there's more questions that we need answered, right? JD, maybe Himiko found another way to recharge that would explain why she stays in the train sometimes. Maybe, like, it could be the mech. Like, maybe the mech is the thing that provides her wish power. It could be anything. Could be Pom Pom, could be Welt, whatever, right? Who knows? She could be an Imaginate that doesn't need wish power. It's all up in the air still, and we have no clue of what the reasoning could be. So Asad Pramad did tell Graphia she was boring and he found someone more interesting. No, yeah, I think the purpose there was that Graphia, and she admitted this herself. Graphia basically gave up, or she didn't necessarily give up, but she took a path that Asad Pramad thought was boring, which was the non-risky path. Graphia basically did something that I don't think Himiko would ever do, which is okay, I have this massive problem called the Sapramad, this Lord Ravager that could potentially devastate this entire world, right? My solution to this issue is to seal away the world, right? We're going to take a risk free approach to this, right? Yeah, I'm going to create the world in canvas and we're going to seal away Planet Arcadia so that Asapramad can't do what he wants to do, right? Elegant solution, right? it will work. It did work for a very long time, but as Asat Pramod said, and as Graphia said, that is a very like reactive solution. That is a very like passive solution, right? Eventually, Asant Pramod is going to find a way. He's going to get in. And he's going to wreak havoc the way he's wreaking havoc at this very moment. So Graphia basically took the easy way out. She took the non-risk way out. And that's why Asat Pramod calls her boring, because he was hoping that she would do something more similar to what her descendant Himeko is doing. Himeko is being proactive. She is actively, going to Ryusuke, she is engaging in like a battle of wit. She is challenging him. She is facing him head on. And that's why I think Asat Pramod loves Himeko so much, because Himeko is someone who is a genuine Astral Express nameless. She loves to adventure, go out, explore, connect, experience new things. She's a risk taker, right? She's a dynamic individual, and that's why Asat Pramod doesn't find Himeko boring. And you can kind of see it in the way Himeko interacts with Ryusuke from the very start. Let me make this perfectly clear. From the very beginning, Ryusuke is introduced. Himeko is already suspicious of Ryusuke. Constantly throughout 4.0, well, not 4.0, because Ryusuke only gets introduced at the end of 4.0. Throughout 4.1, 4.2, and 4.3, Himeko is always testing Ryusuke. She's asking very probing questions, very specific questions. She's like, what do you think about this? Do you remember this? Like, she's like feeling him out, trying to see if this is really her father or Asat Pramod, or, some, huge threat that she needs to deal with. And Asat Pramod's not stupid, right? He is the master of these kinds of battle of wits, right? So he recognizes Himiko's trying to do this and is playing along. He's playing along in this battle of wits. And at the very end, when Himeko finally comes to the truth, right? She figures it out. She calls out his mistakes that he made. He's like, okay, well played. I lose. But, I don't actually lose because I'm a Lord Ravager. Let me just take care of this myself. It's so well done. Genuinely, genuinely. That is the best part of Planet Arcadia up until now, is Asat Pramod and Himeko. Their dynamic, their relationship. It's definitely the best part. Let's go back to YouTube here really quick. Mr. White Burb, what's going on, my man? Hope you're doing well, Mr. White Burb. Anything can happen with the power of elation. Very true. That is true. They could also, I assume, White Burb, you are referring to the fact that Himeko is an Imaginary. How could she leave Planet Arcadia, right? It could also just be that they forgot, right? That the story writers forgot, and they're just like, shit, fuck. We forgot that Imaginate can't leave Planet Arcadia. God damn it. So now we have to fix this. Like, it could mean many different things. But yes, it could also absolutely be that this is just some new thing that we don't know yet. Wakadaba, he spammed the Ravagers chat with Himiko's photo. Yeah. For those of you who don't know what Wakadaba is talking about, there's like a Forbobo like interview after 4.3. I forget where, but it basically talks about Asat Pramod, and no, Asat Pramod is talking as if he's giving an interview and answering questions. And a part of that content is apparently the Lord Ravagers have like a group chat of some kind, which is crazy to say. Like, I cannot imagine the Lord Ravagers just taking out their cell phone and just being like, hey, happy Friday, guys. What's the plan for tonight? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just so funny. But apparently Asat Pramod spams the group chat with like pictures of Himeko. He is a proud dad in some sadistic way. It's very fucked up. It's absolutely is very fucked up. Guys, because if they add calendar, if they put a headache to the writers, which calendar will they use? The normal calendar or their whack Amber Era calendar? There were one Amber Eras, whatever hits Klipov's mood. Yep, exactly. No, yeah. I disagree still, by the way. I still think they should have birthdays in Star Rail, but yeah, it would make it much more difficult for the story writers to do like a hard specific calendar because of the very concept of the way, a galaxy space story is told, which is why they created the Amber Era concept. Very smart writing decision. So, as long as you keep things vague in your story, you have a lot more freedom to write your story. So, Very popular hack. Used I use that hack a lot when I'm writing. Whenever I do creative writing, which I haven't done in a long time. I've said that a while. I haven't done any serious writing and I think like 20 months, like close to 2 years now. But when I do writing, I if I'm writing fiction and I know the fiction that I am writing is not fiction. If I'm writing fantasy and I know that the fantasy that I'm writing is gonna be like very like dynamic, like lots of shit's gonna happen, it's gonna be very complicated. You want to keep your world building vague, unrestricted, because if not, no one is smarter than your audience, and your audience is gonna find all the mistakes, all the plot holes that you made. Guess wait, hold up. Could this be a Witch of Mercury situation where the giant mech is the real? Guest, you just blew my fucking mind. You just, bro. If the mech, there is no, bro. If this motherfucker, if this motherfucker is the original Himeko, I will lose my mind. Bro, 4.4 is gonna give us a conversation between Himeko and her mech, and I will start theorizing. By the way, spoilers. Spoilers for Gundam Witch of Mercury. My bad. Our bad. I guess I'll apologize for guest as well. It's okay, guest. No spoilers for the subject matter of what we're talking about. We're talking about Star Rail, so no spoilers for Star Rail, but spoilers from other series, we can't control that, right? So that's perfectly fine. That would, I don't know how they would do it, guest. I don't know how they would do it, but honestly, I'd be down for it if the mech was just full on Witch from Mercury, you know. Stone, if the mech is hypothetically the train, maybe the power that the train uses isn't Trailblaze power and is instead Wish power. I thought about that. The only problem with that I have is the Express has been shown to like, you know, already in the story to like, for example, we went to Amphorius for the sole purpose that we needed to refuel on Trailblaze power, and there's no Wish power in Amphorius. There's zero of it. So, I don't I did think about that. I just don't think that's the case. JDO theory time. Himeko is an imaginary born from the Express's wishes. Now that I think they could make work. I think they could make that work potentially. I don't know how they would, because that would involve giving the Express some type of conscience. Or maybe you're referring to the Nameless, right? But Himeko was the original Nameless, so maybe that wouldn't work. Stone, I think out of every main villain in HSR, Asap Pramod is the smartest. He's the most cunning, I will say. Because go back, let's go. I'm like flipping between Asap Pramod and Himeko's mech. Lygus is the smartest. Like from an intelligence perspective, he almost created a Lord Ravager. No, he did create a Lord Ravager and almost destroyed the galaxy using said like he was able to take a Emperor Scepter and make a Lord Ravager out of it, capable of taking down Noose. Asap Pramod he doesn't have the intelligence to do that. He just doesn't. But he is more cunning than Lygus. Like Lygus still has, I don't think Lygus can outfox Asap Pramod. Does that make sense? It goes back again to street smart versus intelligence. Lygus is far more intelligent than Asap Pramod. But I would make a good argument that Asap Pramod probably, would do better on the streets than Lygus. So he's definitely more cunning. I'll give you that. But it's hard to compare, right? Like it's very difficult to like take Xander, the first genius, the genius who created an Eon, right? And be like, this character is smarter than that character. JD, was Himeko the original Nameless? I thought it was Mikhail's group. No, she wasn't the original Nameless, but she was the first Nameless of the current group of Nameless, right? For like, because it was confirmed straight up that for a while the Express was just Pom Pom and Himeko. That was it. Himeko talked about it in 4.3 that it was hard for her to manage the Express by herself. And then obviously, Welta joined, and then Don Hung and March joined, and then now we joined, and now Sunday joined. So more people there. But yeah, there's and also you can be a nameless and not be on the express. That is possible. That is something that they've established. Andreas, I mean, Himeko replacing real Himeko is like Cypher prolonging the prophecy. Both is elation power. Yeah, the only issue with saying elation power, is sustaining Himeko, or like wish power is sustaining Himeko. They need to write up a solution, because they've established a very clear rule. Imagine do not exist outside of Planar Arcadia. We have not seen a single Imagine outside of Planar Arcadia. So, if Himiko is an Imagine, she went outside of Planar Arcadia. Why? Why? There has to be an explanation. Otherwise, that's inconsistent writing, and that's a criticism that we can lobby towards Star Rail. Andres, how to write FNAF story lesson 101. Just put random stuff and let the reader make out the stuff for you. You guys have no idea how many stories are out there where like people will say, "Oh, this author is a genius. They planned this out from the very beginning." Like One Piece, for example. Like people do this a lot with One Piece. I guarantee you, Oda, the mangaka for One Piece, is one of the most prolific mangakas of all time. He is incredibly smart, incredibly creative. There's no one else could write One Piece aside from Oda. He's one of a kind. He does not plan out things as much as his audience says he does. He certainly does a lot. Like he definitely plans ahead a lot. Like One Piece is as long as it is because I think Oda has done a fantastic job of organizing One Piece. But many things in One Piece are just Oda just writing something, laying like potential seeds for the future for if he wants to use. That is a very popular writing technique. Like introduce something in the story and just leave it there. Just don't even pay attention to it. And then later down the line, you can use it if you want, or you can just leave it to die. That is something that a lot of writers do. Oda does it all the time. Yes, because Graphia is originally a Void Ranger, right? Not necessarily a Void Ranger. She is a denizen of the destruction. She was created to be a part of the Antimatter Legion and potentially, Asat Pramad's successor. But yes, she was originally a destruction pathstrider. Then maybe, just maybe, she can forge herself into a giant. Well, the only issue with that is that Graphia and the mech technically are still existing at the same time, right? Graphia doesn't die in this story quest, which I was actually pleasantly surprised by. She is alive at the end of 4.3. I thought for sure she was gone. Like I was like, she's dead. She just is. But the fact that she stayed alive, I think, is actually really cool. I think this is a very interesting writing decision that they made, and I hope they follow up with it. You know what would be fucking awesome? If I was writing Star Rail, you know what I would do? I would keep Graphia alive for a long time, and I would actually have her board the Express and like come to Astropolis with the Express as a passenger, not join the Express. I would not have Graphia join the Express. No, no, no. But I think it'd be really cool to kind of have, okay, Himiko, Ryusuke reunite, but it's not actually Ryusuke. It's actually, Asat Pramad. Himiko is depressed from losing her father figure, right? Finding out that she never really had a father figure. But then for Graphia to kind of come and step into that role and kind of play a mentorship role for Himiko almost, and then like develop that dynamic, I think that'd be really cool. I think it'd be difficult to write because then you have to find some way to get Graphia outside of the world and canvas, right? But I think that'd be cool. I think that would be a really interesting like relationship dynamic to explore. Guess, oh yeah, my bad. I forgot which of Mercury is not mainstream. It's definitely one of the more popular Gundams because it's one of the more modern Gundams. But yeah, don't worry about it. Whenever I say no spoilers in chat, I mean what we're discussing, the subject material of what we are streaming. It's impossible to not spoil everything in the world. Just you cannot live your life like that. Yes, reminder that Lygus himself is not a complete whole Xander. Exactly, exactly. Like Lygus is just a small part of a whole. Like you saw how much Lygus was able to accomplish. There's 8 more motherfuckers like him. Like it's difficult. I feel like you can't really compare Lygus and Asat Pramod. I think you can compare like quality of antagonists for sure, and I think they're very similar in quality for different reasons. Andreas, can an Eon get a weathering curse? I mean, that would be the reason even winning the Phantasy Moon games won't fix it. I don't think Aha has the weathering curse. I don't think they established that. I mean, I feel like something they've established, and they even said it in this story patch. There are 3 ways to kill an Eon. In fact, we can probably find it. It's with Ash Vale and March, so further this way. Here's hi Sampo. Did I pass it? I feel like I passed it. Because now we're talking about the veracity. It's like over here. Yeah, here we go. There are 3 ways to kill an Eon, right? An Eon assimilates another Eon, or a path assimilates another Eon. Like, yeah, right? Jipe and Enna. That's, like, go back to Penacony. That's the whole story of Penacony. Uh, an Eon killing another Eon, straight up. Like, kind of like what Klepoth did to Tazaronth, but, like, not really, because we know, like, Tazaronth is, like, technically still alive. Or a path sees an Eon basically ceasing to believe in their path. That's what makes Eon so dangerous, right? Is that the very concept of an Eon is that they have to be dedicated to their philosophy. If they ever, for whatever reason, are influenced from moving away from that path, they will die. They will cease to exist. So I don't think it's possible to give Aha the Weathering Curse because I don't think I feel like the Weathering Curse is a product of a mortal, you know, of a mortal cause and effect. I don't know what to call it, but who knows? Yes, I personally think it to save an interaction with Evanestia to keep Graphia alive. That makes more sense. Yeah, for sure. That said, like I said, I think it'd be really cool if they wanted to go down that angle. Like, oh, Ryusuke, Asat Pramad, Himeko needs a new parental figure. Have Graphia step in, take her to Astropolis, kind of have a mentorship relationship between the both. Ascendant or ascendant. You know, um, ancestor, descendant. I think that'd be cool. Very difficult to write. Like I said, they would definitely have to develop that connection very specifically, both for world building and emotional appeal. But interesting idea, I guess. Walking up a Graphia art class for Himeko and Pearl. Exactly. Like exactly. Yeah, Pearl interactions with Graphia as well. That'd be so cool. JD, what no, JD, how poetic it would be if Graphia became the leader of the Anti-Destruction Alliance. Damn, honestly, that's that's another good idea. Like have Graphia somehow win the Phantasy Moon games, give her Elation's authority, and have her be the leader of the Anti-Destruction Alliance, and then you're able to kind of form that connection with Graphia. It's just something to me is just so there's something so appealing about keeping Graphia around, having her actually have story importance, and building some type of emotional connection between her and Himeko. That to me just feels so interesting. Like that would be such a like if they could make it work. If they could make it work, because like I said, it would be so hard to make it work. But if they could, that would be one of my favorite character dynamics in the entire game. Having Graphia somehow stick around for a while and slowly build up an emotional connection between her and Himeko, would love it. Would love it. I don't think it's gonna happen. I would be very surprised if it happened, but would love it. Jidya Sapramad said the Weathering Curse was the consequence of denying destruction for those born in it. Yes. correct. Which is why I don't think an Eon could ever be afflicted with the Weathering Curse as well, because Aeon, unless you're Nanook, right? And Nanook consequently denies the destruction, which he would then cease to exist. There's no other Eon that could be a, a natural born destruction. So, Andreas, yeah, Weathering Curse is like the number three of killing the Eon. Not quite, Andreas. I think you got it slightly mistaken. The oh, you're talking about like as like a concept, like aha, like weathering, like you're making a comparison, Andreas, saying the weathering curse is, for the destruction. Potentially the same thing could happen to aha, him like stepping away from his path. Got okay, now I get what you're putting down. I thought you were like actually like saying no, like the weathering curse will actually be on aha. Not quite. I think the weathering curse is like specifically for the destruction. Sorry, I confused things there. We were not on the same page there, but now we are. Guest, by the way, have you looked into who you think Aha is? My headcanon is Nihilux, since Aha applied to have many masks, and Nihilux we saw wore many masks, well, more like Swindleless, but you get my point. It's a popular theory. Yeah, for sure. I actually think I would be down to have Nihilux be Aha. At first, I wasn't so warm to the idea, um, because I kind of wanted our first playable Eon to be someone else, like another Eon potentially. But I think Aha would make a decent choice for the first one. I think they've developed Aha as an Eon so far in Planet Arcadia fairly well. And I do think Nihilux is a good example of a character that would be an Eon while still being mortal in some way. Like parts of Nihilux definitely feel otherworldly, if that makes sense. Like whenever Nihilux is on screen, you kind of feel like she's almost disconnected from everything, like she's like peering in from the inside, like almost. Does anyone else get that impression? Does anyone else feel like Nihilux is almost like she doesn't like she feels like almost like completely like inconsequential, like completely indifferent to everything happening, and only way you can do that is if you're all powerful, right? She's definitely ridiculously powerful. Like she is definitely some major individual. And I think having her be a high, I think would be good. So we'll see. I think it's probable. I do think it's probable. Guess plus we have never seen Nihilux and Eva on the same screen unless I missed something in the event. I think you're right. They were in the same room at a certain point, because in 4.1, there's that part where Nihilux shows up at the like Astral Express event to like do a couple of signings, remember? Because she was coerced into it by the Trailblazer. And then Evanesia like crashes into us, in that room. You guys remember what I'm talking about? It's when we're with Himeko in March, right before we're about to fight the wannabe Power Rangers. They're technically in the same room at that point, but they don't see each other. I don't think. Andres, Assange said they got the curse because they stray from destruction. I think that's what I remember. Yes. Andres, we're on the same page now. We're on the same page. Guess otherwise Eva would be hold up, wait a minute. They will see each other eventually, and that's gonna be very telling. And once Evanesia and Nihilux like come face to face, if Evanesia's reaction is one of shock, then yeah, Nihilux is probably aha. Which I do think would be cool. Would be a good way to make her like be like the mega last character of the Elation storyline. Just have her be an Eon. There we go. So, and it would also kind of make a little bit of sense from a writing perspective, because like so far what we've gotten from Nihilux, right? We can go to Nihilux here, right? We can kind of find her for a bit. There we go. So far what we've gotten from Nihilux, that she's like this writer, right? That seems to be like almost trapped by her requirement to continue writing Fluffy, the Fluffy comic. And so could be kind of interesting, because then you can make a connection with like this, like, this concept of like Nihilux being a comic artist who like isn't necessarily like she's very successful, but she's also broke and she's like lazy and she doesn't. It doesn't feel like she necessarily wants to write that much anymore. I mean, most of her screen time in 4.3 is her like wanting to run away from her work. Well, then you could kind of connect that maybe potentially to Aha not wanting to be an Eon anymore. Maybe he's gotten tired of being an Eon. Maybe he's gotten tired of being on the path of elation, right? Maybe he wants to step away. So there's that bridge. There's a bridge that you can make there. So that's for me. If they wanted to make Nihilux Aha, that's the way that I would write it personally. It's very simple, but it just makes sense. But I feel like they're gonna go a different angle with it. So JD, what if Nihilux paying her debt to Pearl is foreshadowing Aha paying the debt to the Astral Express? Could be it. That could absolutely be it. But obviously, the Pearl not being like a symbol of the actual Express makes that analogy a bit weaker, but absolutely could be some foreshadowing. Wagadaba, maybe each path has one. Propagation has the ELS, destruction has the weathering curse. God, the name escaped from my mind. No, yeah, that could be it. But ELS hasn't necessarily been explained fully yet. Because I don't think. I guess maybe you could make the argument that Firefly, stepped away from the path of the propagation because she was a part of the Iron Cavalry and she was fighting the propagation. That would, if it's a bit of a stretch, you can make that case, I think, but definitely something to consider. Ungrass, yes, I just really see Nihilux like all knowing and everything. Yes, she has a very like omniscient feel to her in a way. Like she feels omniscient in some capacity. If she's not Aha, she's a crazy motherfucker. Like one of the strongest emanators that we have in the series, or like someone she has to be someone on the level of like um what's her name? Who's the scalpel? No, don't tell me. I'm not looking at chat. I'll get the name eventually. Polka Kakamon. Like she has to be someone on the level like Polka Kakamon or Xander or like Zephyro, like one of the strongest emanators just out there, or Aha. Andres, and also feel everything would be okay. Guess, yeah, I remember. Damn, Pearl is a savage, slaving an eon away to make a comic book. Well, obviously she doesn't know, but yes. If Nihilux is Aha, a lot of what Nihilux is doing in 4.3 recontextualize is really funny. Imagine Pearl just like realizing, oh, I just like locked away on Eon. Like at any point in time, Aha could have just snapped his fingers and she just disappears. Or Nihilux, but yeah, very interesting character. So, all right. So we talked about Asap Pramod. He's incredibly cunning. Let's talk about his connection with Himeko, right? Because we are approaching 2 hours and I'm starting to get hungry. There's not too much else to talk about, actually. Because we already talked about Graphia. I've said what I want to say about Graphia. We talked about this scene a little bit. We'll actually probably want to talk about that a bit more. Anything else we want to talk about? We talked about Nihilux. I think what we talked about Nihilux is what I want to talk about Nihilux, and everything else I feel fine on. So, whereas here we go. Let's do this. Yeah, I think I said this before. I think the best part of Planet Arcadia has been up until now has been Himeko. I think Himeko's characterization, the focus that she's been getting. Yeah, you guys know how much I love Himeko. Probably a little bit of bias there, but still. A big part of what has made Himeko so amazing in Planet Arcadia has been her building connection, her building character relationship with her father, Ryusuke, or so we thought. Throughout 4.0, 4.1, 4.2, we've seen that this relationship, despite as tense as it been, because it has been very tense, was gradually forming, right? Himeko was getting closer to her father once again. She started off calling him by his name, and eventually, as time went on, referred to him as dad more and more. Ryusuke, obviously, from the very start, was very open, very, like, okay, Himeko, I'm sorry. I apologize for everything. However you want to approach our relationship, I will, I will acclimate to you. I will adapt to you. And but you could kind of see they were bantering a bit more. They were more emotionally connected as time went on. And then this patch recontextualizes everything. I think, like I said, from the very start, you can kind of tell something is sus about Ryusuke, and Himeko can kind of tell that as well. The fact that, Ryusuke isn't, this like random citizen. Like he's not completely like uninvolved here. There's something, definitely something going on with him, which is why throughout most of that like reconciliation between Himeko and Ryusuke, Himeko is kind of probing her father. She is wanting to kind of reestablish their, familial connection. But a part of it is also, okay, I need to kind of see what's underneath the surface. I need to figure out what's going on with my dad. Is this person my dad? Is this individual, even my father? Like, what's going on? Okay, if this individual is my father, who are they connected to? Are they connected to Asap Pramad, who is planning everything? Like, are they connected to the IPC? Himeko is just trying to get information. She's trying to kind of confirm her suspicious or deconfirm her suspicions, right? And then in this story patch, obviously Asap Pramad is like, oh, haha, it was actually me all along. And you feel Himeko is devastated by this. Like, you can tell she wanted so badly to believe that her father was, back, and that he was genuine, and that they were actually like sincerely reforming their relationship. She wanted so badly to believe it, and to have been denied that, despite her suspicions, right? Despite, obviously hurt her. But what makes it even worse is, of course, learning that from the very, wait, hold on. Where is it? Where does the reveal happen? Yeah, from the very big, there was never any hope, ever any hope of her ever forming her connection with her father again, because it never existed. It never existed. From the moment she was 6 years old, her father was dead. Everything that she knew about her father, all the pain, all the tension, all the like regret and negative emotions that she held towards Ryusuke, it was always a Sapramad. And to like, it hurt Himeko to know that there was, that Ryusuke in modern day was a Sapramad, absolutely. But at least she could like, cope with the fact that she suspected him from the very start. But what she didn't suspect was that Asap Ramad was him from the very beginning, from the moment that they met, essentially. And that is what I think really breaks Himeko here. However, I think Himeko is able to move forward and like start combating Asap Ramad here. You can really see Himeko's expression here. Yeah. She is really heartbroken here. But what helps here is that, and Asap Ramad makes the point as well, if this was the original Himeko standing here, then I think all hope is lost. I think if this is the original Himeko here, there she's broken. Like, I don't think she could move past this. I think Asap Ramad just mind breaks her and it's over. But the very fact that isn't the original Himeko, that supposedly, like I said, we don't have this fully confirmed, but this Himeko is an imagine created by the original Himeko, the Himeko from, back then during the Herald of Death incident, to kind of take her place, right? To kind of venture out into the stars in her place because she's scared. She's scared to go out and venture into the unknown, but also, the weathering curse. The fact that Himeko is an imagine, I think allows Himeko to kind of, okay, I'm heartbroken about this, but even if he wasn't my dad, this was her dad, right? Ryusuke was the original Himeko's dad. I am just a, placeholder for the original Himeko. I think is what allows her to, move past her, her pain in this moment and start fighting a Pramod. I think it's actually pretty smart writing here. So JD, I just realized the mecha is Himeko's Evernight. It protected her from a Pramon's attack. Yes, that's something that we haven't talked about. The mecha is autonomous in some capacity. Himeko maybe summoned the mecha, but it did kind of seem like the mecha did seem to protect Himeko immediately. So another thing that's interesting is that Asat Pramod seemed to be familiar with the mech. Like he seemed to know about the mech's existence. So definitely a lot of stuff going on. Guest, what about why Planet Arcadia isn't able to be seen by Elio's script? I originally thought it was because of aha shit, but seeing Asat causality witchery, was it Asat all along? It could be. Yeah, because yeah, causality then that kind of tampers with fate and stuff. So yeah, but Asat Pramod's power, as insanely broken as it is, seems to be small in scale. Like he seems to be able to influence the events around him, right? And we even kind of get a scene of like Asat Pramod while he's fighting the trio, right? Like there's a cutscene like right here. Like we get a scene where he is like almost like yeah. It's like I have a feeling that he can't his like range of effect isn't that large. So I don't know if Asat Pramod can influence causality on a mass scale, which is I think is what would require for Elio's script to be blank. Interesting concept though, definitely. Or interesting idea, not concept. Wagadaba Asat is the father that stepped up. Yeah, in a very sadistic and like very like manipulative kind of way. He was there, but he actually no, he really wasn't there. Like even when Asat Pramod chose to be Himeko's father, he was still very absent in Himeko's life. So he's still a pretty shitty life. But yeah, I mean we could talk about it. Let's talk about Himeko even further. Yeah. Who the fuck is Himeko? Is she an imagine? Is she a clone of, the original Himeko created by the Phantom Moon games? Who the fuck knows? You want to know what I am personally more interested in? Is she actually dead? Is she? One thing that I find really interesting about both Himekos, take a look at this. Take a look at this. Right here. Himeko, our Himeko, has the weathering curse on her leg here. And so does the original. So the original Himeko has the weathering curse here. The our Himeko, though, has the weathering curse on her leg. That could mean two different things. Number one, which is I think far more likely, is that the original Himeko died, took the weathering curse with her, and Himeko, as the Imagine, naturally healed the weathering curse off of her. That is likely what's going to happen. But another idea that I actually prefer is that Himeko wasn't lying when she said she cured the weathering curse. I think it would be really interesting that Himeko, the Imagine, doesn't have the weathering curse because the original Himeko is still alive and cured the weathering curse on herself, and as a result, that ended up curing the Imagine's curse. I actually kind of like that theory a bit better. And if you remember correctly, we did see Himeko's model in a wheelchair in the 4.3 live stream trailer. Now, we didn't get to see it in the story, but in the live stream trailer, we did get to see it. Why is that model there in a wheelchair, and for what reason? All I'm saying is I have a feeling that there is a chance the original Himeko could be alive, and I think that could be very interesting. So, but yeah, our Himeko is likely an Imagine or definitely some type of clone of or symbol or representative of the original Himeko. What that means for the Express, I don't think it changes anything. I think by the end of the Elation storyline, Himeko will be able to continue traveling with us. I think Himeko is going to be quote unquote alive, right? Like people say, "Oh, Himeko died." Like, yeah, sure, kind of like Himeko died if you're referring to the original. In my mind, in my heart, Himiko is this, right? My emotions are tied to this character. Like it doesn't matter if she isn't like a typical human being. I don't think Himiko is going to disappear. I would be shocked. I would be so surprised. So I think Himiko, it's a cool plot twist, her being not real technically, but I don't think that means too much for like what Himiko's role in the story is supposed to like, I don't think it impacts that whatsoever. JD, I think Asant Pramat's power is closer to how Noose can predict things more than Terminus itself. Yeah, that's a fair point, actually. It's less that he predicts things and more that he can see multiple different outcomes. Basically, what happens is that Asant Pramad's life and his reality is a dice roll constantly. I feel like he is constantly rolling a dice because he is a dice. And whenever something happens to him, he can pick and choose from multiple different dice rolls. So he can basically pick and choose from multiple different realities and then manifest the reality that he chooses into reality, into that current reality. Basically, he can pick his dice roll, and he's always going to pick the dice roll that is luckiest, the one that is most beneficial for him. Now, how big is the scale of that? Yeah, basically, not. And if anything, it's the opposite of Aventurine in a way. Actually, Aventurine is amazingly lucky. He hits the dice roll every time because of sheer luck. Asapramad spits in the face of luck. He basically denies the very concept of luck. He says, I own luck itself. There is no luck involved here. I will simply choose the dice roll. I will force the dice roll. He's kind of a he's kind of an anti-Aventurine, actually, when you really think about it. But yet, my question is, okay, his power is broken. On what scale can he, utilize said power? Like, how broadly can he use this dice roll that he chooses? Seemingly, he can have multiple clones of himself use this power, but what we've seen so far is that every time he uses this power, it is small in scale. So that might be a part of the hope that we have in defeating him. So going back to YouTube guest, kind of funny and messed up. He's the father of both Graphia and Himeko. Oh yeah, yeah. He a big reason why he decided to father Himeko, despite still being a shitty dad, is because of Graphia. Like absolutely, like he wouldn't have decided to come into Himeko's life if Himeko wasn't a descendant of the Graphia family. Like he said, he finds Himeko interesting. He likes Himeko more than Graphia because Himeko is way different from Graphia in the sense that she is a nameless. She exemplifies the qualities of the actual Express, which, as we know, he is connected to the actual Express because he's icy. So, Andreas, a different Andreas with a very long name. My bad, my brother. I would love to pronounce your name correctly. Andreas Wayu Prasetya, 2737. Wheelchair, yes. Also, hope you're doing well, Andreas. I have another Andreas in chat usually, so it's kind of going to be difficult to differentiate you two. But let's go to, also, hey, it's me. Let's go to here. HSR 4.3 trailer. Look at the very start. This is what I was referring to earlier. Here we go. This is the original Himeko. She's in a wheelchair in like a broken classroom with a weathering curse. We didn't get this in the story from 4.3. I have a feeling that this is still the Himeko that's alive. I have a feeling. Like I said, I think it's more likely that this Himeko is actually dead, and because she died, the weathering curse ceased to exist for the imaginary Himeko. I think that's more likely. But part of me does think it'd be more interesting for the original Himeko to be alive still. So we'll see. We shall see. Guess I'm also interested why Himiko's memory has a lot of contradictions. Contradictions. Likely because of Asat Pramod. Because, you know, he's not her real father. Yes, yeah, in the trailer there was a moment where the original Himeko is depicted in a wheelchair. Yes. Andreas Wayu Prasetya. I told AU Fushuan is a Sap Pramod. Fushuan is a Sap Pramod. I don't think. Well, actually, at this point, like, are we all gonna suspect that every single character in Star Rail is a Sap Pramod? Isn't that funny? Because he can turn into other people. So, I mean, any character at this point could be a Sap Pramod. Andreas, if that's how you, so let me get it straight. Is it Andreas Wayu Prasetya? Is that how you pronounce it? I want to make sure I get it right. I will say it every time. As long as I get it correctly. JD, I see your point. Once again. A real knee slapper. Oh, JD, you did it again. Guest, as in, it feels like Himeko fully believes she's the real one and has not recollection of the original Himeko. Like, it doesn't seem like she knows the OG Himeko. Yes, that is a part of this as well. Now, there have been moments where we kind of get both. We get a little bit of both. Part of it, sometimes Himeko does kind of present herself as like she thinks she's the original. I agree with that. There have been moments where like it seems like Himeko doesn't know that she's the original. There have also been moments, specifically, towards the finale, right, where Himeko does seem like she knows that she's not the original. So we'll see what direction they decide they want to take it in. I feel like that's something they kept purposefully vague. Like they wanted us to like think about that because I actually don't think they know what they want to do with it yet. I don't think the writers of Star Rail know exactly what they want to do with that yet. Okay, let me get this right. Andreas Wayu Prasetya. Gotcha. Andreas Wayu Prasetya. Andreas Wayu Prasetya. It's a beautiful name. Beautiful name. My name is boring. So you guys have probably heard my name before. I would prefer you guys refer to me as Gulio or Leo. Those are the two names that I prefer. Like if you want to shorten my online tag, Leo is the one that I prefer over Ghoul. But Gulio is fine as well. So either one of those two. You can call me whatever you'd like. You can call me Ghoul. You can call me Gulio. You can call me Leo. Whatever. My real name, I'm perfectly fine revealing it. It's on my Twitter. My real name is David, but my full name is David Turan. Very simple name. there's nothing like really like special about my name. Like there's a million Davids out there. Andreas Wayu Prasetya. Thank you. Oh, well, you're very welcome, my friend. You're welcome into the channel. Guess not to mention why the imaginary Himeko has a weathering curse if she was made to be the ideal Himeko. Wouldn't she just not have the curse? That's what I'm saying, man. I have a feeling they're connected in some way. The imaginary and the original Himeko. Like maybe they share a life. Who knows? But I think what's very interesting is that our Himeko did used to have the weathering curse, and now she doesn't. Why? Is it because the original Himeko died? Or is it because the original Himeko is still alive and somehow managed to actually cure the weathering curse, like our Himeko said she did? So who knows? Nina, my theory is that the imaginary Himeko sacrificed herself for the real Himeko after the games. So you're thinking that this is actually our Himeko is the real Himeko who got to grow up, and that maybe the imaginary Himeko sacrificing herself might have cured the weathering curse, potentially. Is that what you're saying, Nina? I could get behind that. I could absolutely get behind that. I think that would be also another interesting angle for this. Guess, unless this is another Evernight situation. I think if it was an Evernight situation, we would have gotten it by now. I think. Andreas Wayu Prasetya. I thought Leo is your real name. Not quite. the story behind the channel name is my gamer tag for the longest time has been Ghoul. I have gone by Ghoul for the like among my friend group. Like every time I create an account or I create a username, it's almost always Ghoul or some variation of Ghoul. And then when I decided to start streaming, I wanted to do something connected to Ghoul. And I was like, okay, well, a lot of my original names weren't working out. So I was like, okay, let me try a different angle. I was born in August, and in August, as being born in August, I am a Leo. And so I thought, well, what about Ghoulio, right? Take the L at the end of Ghoul, just add Leo at the end of it. Rolls off the tongue pretty well. I could create like a lion mascot, right? My mascot is a lion. Works pretty well. So I checked the gamer tag, and yeah, it worked on most sites. So that's the story of Gulio and how the name came to be. But since I've started the channel, I've realized the names that I prefer to be referred to as are Gulio or Leo. I like using Leo as the short name, but like I said, whatever you like. You can even refer to me as David if you would like to. It's not my preference, but there's no rule behind it. JD, I would love to see the original Himeko becoming playable as Himeko Nova, a similar situation to Sparkle and Sparksy. Yeah, that would be cool. I think that is what's going to happen. I think I don't th- this might be the first situation where the SP replaces the design of the original. Now, I would be kind of sad because I also really love the original Himeko design, like standard banner Himeko design. But I could also see, like, going forward, Himeko Nova is how Himeko is by default, right? Like, this is how she is looking like going forward. Like, Don Hung and March, they retain their original, like, models, right? I could see like potentially Himiko being the first SP, which replaces the original model in like the story. But who knows? Guess that's a really interesting theory. I think you're talking about Nina's theory, right? Yeah, I like that. That's another good angle they could take it. Yeah, I think it would be a plot twist. I think a lot of people wouldn't expect on it, and I think it would make sense. So well done, Nina. Well done. But Nina, this isn't new for you, right? You've always been really good with your theories. You've every time you come in and you give your idea, I'm just like, huh. I kind of want that to happen now. But also, part of me also does want, like, I also kind of like my theory, or it's not a theory, but I also like the concept of original Himiko still being alive and having found a cure to the weathering curse. That to me is also interesting. They've got multiple angles they could take this in. So Andreas Wayu yeah, more Gulio lore story time. If you want some real Gulio lore, go back and rewatch the VOD of this stream once it's over, which we're gonna end soon here, I think. At the very start of the stream, I talked about how I mildly concussed myself yesterday because of a skit that I made about Himeko Nova's animations. And I decided to play that skit on stream. It's at the start, like I said, it's at the start of the stream. And so if you want some real Gulio lore, you actually get to see in that skit a little bit of like where I live. You can kind of see the outside of my apartment complex. You can kind of see a little bit of the interior of my apartment. You can kind of see a full view of my office, like as you walk into my office, because you guys only ever see this angle, so you can kind of see a different angle of my office. JD, I was thinking that the original Himeko was Himeko Nova since the model looks younger. I don't quite think so. I just think the art style has changed. Like, take a look at this. Let's take a look at Himeko Nova Lycone. Right? So this is a she looks much older here, right? Compared to like what we've seen of Himeko Nova elsewhere. This to me looks like the same age as the Himeko that we now know and love, right? immensely. So this is the way Himeko Nova is being drawn now. Now let's take a look at Himeko's normal Himeko's light cone. Here we go. Okay, bad. Maybe Google Images. No, not that one. Not that one either. I don't. Here we go. Bitch, can I just get a good image? There we go. Okay, whatever. The art style is different. And this is something that we've seen recently. The art style that they use at the start of Star Royal is changing with time. So I think it's just a result of that art style change over, you know, the 3 years that we've been playing this game. By the way, I don't know if I've ever said this before. This is my favorite light cone in the game. Like the art, this is my favorite light cone in the game. One of the many reasons why I fell in love with Himeko so quickly at the start of the game. Um, there's multiple factors that made me fall in love with Himeko at the very start of the game. The first of which is obviously Himeko from Honkai Impact the Third. She was once upon a time my favorite Honkai Impact the Third character. She was my first favorite Honkai Impact the Third character. Now it's Alicia. Alicia is my favorite Honkai Impact the Third character. It's no longer the original Himeko, but love the Himeko, right? Um, the other reason was when I first started playing Star Rail, like day one, my very first day of playing Star Rail, I told Goldie, friend of the channel, also a streamer, because we were playing it together. Me and Goldie started playing Star Rail together. I told Goldie that I wanted us to try playing Genshin instead, and he convinced me to start playing Star Rail instead. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll give it a shot. So I started playing, and I was like, this is really fun. I don't know if I'll stick around. Maybe if I summon Himeko and I get Himeko, I'll stick around. And then not only did I end up getting Himeko as my first 5-star in the game, but I actually ended up pulling her full odds. Do you guys remember back when speaking of Himeko, let's go back to this screen. Do you guys remember when you first start Star Rail, you get like this beginner banner? It was like 50 summons or like 60 summons. And once you reach the end of those 50 and 60 summons, you got a free 5-star character, a standard banner character. And that was, done so to incentivize people to stay. My character from the guaranteed 5-star beginner banner was Japard, but I actually ended up pulling Himeko first in my first 30 summons. I got her in my third 10 pull. And the fact that she was my first 5-star, the fact that she was the character that I wanted going into the game, the fact that, she was my favorite character in Honkai Impact the Third originally, and the fact that I also got super lucky and ended up pulling her full odds, all of that quickly turned her into my favorite character into the game. And so, yeah, you can imagine that this is a big moment for me. So I don't know if it was quite worth getting concussed yesterday over it, but Andres, what you said, yeah. Oh, I missed that when I watched your other video. No, it's in this stream, so you'll have to go back and watch the VOD of this stream once it's over if you want to see the skit that I made. I'm not gonna show it again. Yes, wait, you also played HI3. I have not played HI3. I have watched HI3. I made the decision a long time ago to not download the game because I was scared to get addicted to another gacha. I started playing Genshin back during COVID when it first came out, got addicted, and wanted to explore more of Hoyoverse. At the time, Star Rail, Zenless Zone Zero, they weren't out, so the only option that I had was Honkai Impact the Third. But I was playing Genshin, and I was very addicted, and I was like, do I really want to add another gacha game to my plate, right? And after thinking about it, I said, not really. So I watched a playthrough on YouTube of most of the story. With the most recent chapters that have come out, I haven't watched those. I would say I genuinely know the storyline up until graduation. Like once you get to graduation, To me, that's where my brain tells me the story of HI3 ends, if that makes sense. But yeah, Himeko was my favorite Impact the Third character for a while, but then Alicia ended up surpassing her. So, JD, I do play HI3. Hey, I feel like that's the first time I'm hearing that, JD. Very cool. I wish you luck in your summons in HI3. Guess that is a very wise decision. Yeah, bro. I play 4 gachas these days. I play Honkai, Star Rail, Zenless Zone Zero, which are the two that I stream. But I play 2 other gachas just for my own enjoyment, which are Epic 7 and Nikke, Goddess of Victory Nikke. Managing those 4 gachas on a daily basis is a nightmare. It is not fun. Well, it is fun. I wouldn't do it obviously if it wasn't fun, but it is busy. As a former HI3 player, I feel like you can get the full experience by just watching it. Yeah. If you haven't experienced HI3, go do so. It is fantastic. JD, actually, part 2 ends soon. Very cool. I do hear part 2 is well liked. I do. Guest, Nikke? Oh, hell yeah, based, bro. Guest, next time you come around to the stream, we'll have to talk Nikke, my friend, because I'm gonna tell you, my journey with Nikke has been a roller coaster. For the most part, a fantastic roller coaster. JD, are you still playing Genshin? No, I am not. I decided to give up Genshin a long time ago, and I don't think I will go back, unfortunately. The main reason being is I've realized I'm not the biggest fan of the open world gacha formula. For me, I prefer something like Star Rail, something like Zenless, where it's like zone based, where I don't have to like really go out and explore every nook and cranny for resources. It feels a bit like anxiety inducing to like having to go get resources in the open world for me. So the same thing happened with Wuthering Waves. I was like, I really wanted to love Wuthering Waves, and I did really like the story of Wuthering Waves actually, but unfortunately, it was also open world. So yeah. But the plan is actually once we do catch up to ZZZ, we are going to do a little bit of Genshin content. We're going to react to the trailers. So we are going to do a little bit of Genshin content, but we're not going to play it. Unfortunately, I think it's too far gone at this point. Guess unironically good ass story disguised as Gunner game. Nikke, you guys might be surprised to hear me say this. I think Nikke might have potentially the best storytelling out of the 4 gachas that I've played. It's close. It's either ZZZ or Nikke. Not the best story. I think that belongs to Star Rail. But the best storytelling, like the way the story is told, to me, it's either Nikke or ZZZ. And these days, I actually lean a bit closer to Nikke. So that'll tell you how good Nikke's story is. It's amazing. Also, the character designs are very nice to stare at for the straight male gaze. I will say that. All right, let's go ahead and come over here and wrap it up here for today. Let me catch up to your guys' chats really quick and we'll finish it. Nina, part 2 has a lot of permanence connections. I'm really enjoying it so much. Ooh, very cool. I think you did mention that before, Nina. I just completely, you kind of just like jogged my memory with that. Guys, by the way, the reason why Himeko is perceived as younger is the shape of her dress. The original is long skirt, while this one is shorter, at least the front one. No, yeah, that's part of it, but I still think part of it is, again, like the art style has changed. Himeko Nova's eyes are bigger. The hair has more volume to it. Like it is a bit of an art style change. Andres, why you yeah, I kind of can help you with the lore for HI3 and Genshin. Why not watch HI3 2? I did watch HI3. Well, maybe you mean part 2. So, I might be down. I think is I kind of want to use Genshin as like a temporary bridge between us finishing and catching up to ZZZ and starting up Expedition 33. Because after we catch up to ZZZ, I do kind of want to take a little bit of a break from streaming. Like not stopping streaming. I mean like stop streaming as much. And I think doing like the Genshin trailer reactions would be kind of like a good in between. So, guess I wholeheartedly agree with that. I assume you mean with the point I made about Nikke and storytelling and all that jazz. It's just the overall story were amazing, sure, especially in Furious. But man, I wish they had better screen dialogue writers. Yeah, mm-hmm. That is the biggest problem with Infurious, unfortunately, is the dialogue is a bit too flowery, a bit too poetic. I think Shaoji dropped the ball a little bit with the dialogue in Infurious, unfortunately. That said, everything else about Infurious was amazing, so we forgive Shaoji. But yeah, that's what you can expect with Shaoji and his team, right? Okay, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up here for today, guys. We're approaching just a bit over 2 hours. This is about the length of time I wanted to do today, so we'll go ahead and end it here. Everyone who came through today, both on Twitch and YouTube, thank you so much. Sage, JD, SSG, good to see you, SSG. Earlier we had Stone come in as well, so appreciate you guys on Twitch. And as for YouTube, Andreas Waya Prasetya guest, you guys coming in for the first time. Appreciate meeting you guys. It was a pleasure. I hope to see you guys again. If you guys liked what you experienced here today, if not, perfectly fine. Had a great time sharing my love and joy with the game with you guys. Nina, it's been a while. Great to see you again, Nina. If you're still around, hope to see you again sometime soon. And we also had Wagadaba towards the start of the stream today as well. And Andreas, the other Andreas that we have, who has been a longtime friend of the channel. So appreciate you guys as well. We also had a couple of viewers there in between, like Faf and Fafor, a couple of other people as well. So if I missed your name, I am so sorry. But appreciate everyone who came in to the stream here today. So as for the next stream, which I didn't talk about at the beginning of the stream, so that's my mistake, guys. Next stream will be probably this Thursday. So we're not no stream tomorrow. I'm gonna take the day off tomorrow. And then Thursday we are back to Zenless Zone Zero. We will be doing the 2.3 story quest and continuing with the main story. The plan is to really grind Zenless going forward because I would like to catch up to Zenless fully before 3.0 releases here in mid-June. So we're gonna be doing a lot of Zenless content ahead of the next couple of weeks. So yeah, so hopefully if you guys like Zenless content, I'll see you guys there. If not, perfectly fine. But that is the plan for Thursday. Until then, hope you guys have a great rest of your day, a great rest of your week. Take care, guys. Enjoy, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace, late.